Have you ever heard of the oatmeal problem?
No, I have not heard of the oatmeal problem.
Okay.
Goth, have you heard of the oatmeal
So,
problem?
No, I've never heard of the
Okay,
oatmeal
tell us
problem.
about the oatmeal problem.
so the oatmeal problem is the theoretical problem. Well, it's not actually a theoretical problem. It comes from a GDC talk by a let me get her name exactly right. I think it was Kate Compton. Kate
Okay.
Compton gave a talk at GDC 7 years ago at a game developers conference on practical procedural generation, and this was about procedural generation, not about generative generation, right, or generative AI generation. And effectively, she said, procedurally generating stuff is useless if it's not meaningful. Like, I can procedurally generate 1,000,000 bowls of oatmeal, and I can guarantee to you that every one of those bowls is unique.
Okay.
It is not the same as the other bowls, and I can create a system that can generate for you unique bowls of oatmeal every time. But do you give a shit that this bowl of oatmeal is different than that bowl of oatmeal?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't have meaning, it doesn't do anything, right? So when it comes to this generative AI, you run into that same problem. You can have an AI generate a million planets, 1,000,000 levels, 1,000,000 units, 1,000,000 enemies, 1,000,000 weapons. But if they don't feel meaningfully different, if there's no actual reason for them to be distinct from each other, they just made oatmeal. I don't care whether the position of my oatmeal is different per bowl. I just care that it tastes like oatmeal. I want to chew on it. It has to be slightly crunchy, but not too much. That's it. So we're running into the oatmeal problem right now. Everybody's talking about generating infinite everything. That's fun for 55 minutes. For 1 hour, you'll sit there and you'll go like, oh, hell yeah, let's make a level. And then you play that level. And then you go like, let's make another one. You'll play that one. And then you'll go like, okay, I get it. They're done. Well, you take something like Super Mario Maker or that other game, the shooter with user-generated content. That's fun. Because you play it and you know somebody thought of like, okay, how would this be interesting? How would this be cool? And even though you might not be actively thinking about it, I think you feel it. And maybe I'm just saying this as a game developer, right? Maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm full of shit.
How do you feel about No Man's Sky? Does that have an oatmeal problem?
So I think to a degree it does, right? Like, and especially near the start of the game, the planets were such a large part of its identity, but it turns out that every planet is a planet is a planet is a planet. Like, it's a planet where I can breathe, or a planet where I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And after a few hours, that stops being interesting. So the meaning from No Man's Sky doesn't come from the planets anymore. For a very long time, they've been moving away from the planet as like the core part of No Man's Sky. It's your bases, it's your building, it's your ship, it's a, you know. So the planets turn into a backdrop rather than like a significant point of the game, and they needed to do that because otherwise, it's just boring.
Yeah.
Right? Minecraft can generate like massive worlds, but has that ever been like a big selling point to anybody, or is it just like I pick a place and I start digging here?
It's kind of that. I mean, I feel like the golden goose is being able to make, and then we're kind of stepping away from the AI conversation. Sorry. Is like having a proc gen engine that feels hand built. And I think we're eventually going to get there. I'm really interested in Light No Fire and see how they do that, because it's essentially improved No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I think Valheim at times really felt hand built. Even though it's like, you know, meadows, forest, swamps, so on and so forth. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in No Man's Sky, so I get the oatmeal comparison, because it's like I have 600, 700 hours in the game, and I know the patterns. I'm going to land on a planet. I know that it probably randomly rolls tree, rock, grass, sky color, watercolor, and then proc engine for all the animals there. So if you have enough time, you see the patterns. Yeah.
So the thing, right? Like meaning is more important to proc gen than anything else. Like it needs to be meaningful. The distinctions need to be meaningful. What AI is giving us, and what AI is supposedly going to give us, which, you know, the demo EA showed was full of shit as far as I'm concerned. But
the boxes.
Yeah, the boxes. It's like, can you imagine? That's a concept video. You have all the money in the world to show something cool, and you're showing cardboard box. Like, what the fuck? But the point is, that level it's not even a good level. Look at that
No.
level. Like it's
It
all
was just a
open.
level,
Sightlines
yeah.
are terrible. Like it's not like you know how in like in a good PvP game you start to learn a level. You start to feel like, oh, these are like the good corridors. These are the good place to be. Like this level, you'll play it once and then you'll generate another one. Nobody will train on this level. Nobody will be good at this level. Nobody will be, because that's not how this works,
Yeah.
right? Like a PvP game is about the level. It's not about the guns. Guns are part are your tool set, but like a PvP game is about the level. So
That's fair.
I understand why.
How many of us grinded Facility on GoldenEye? Because
Yeah.
it was arguably the best level
True.
in GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
It felt the most competitive. It had nice sightlines and doors. I mean, yeah.
Great
Levels
music.
are the star. Yeah.
So that's it, right?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to AI, there will be use for it.
Mhm.
Like absolutely, like fuck yeah, I never have to make a tree again, because with a tree I don't give a shit about the oatmeal problem. I want a tree, right? And we're already doing that. We've been doing that for decades. Like that's not new. We've had tools to generate trees forever. We've had tools to generate rocks forever. We're not in the Halo days where like there's one rock on the map that's just rotated 7 times. Like that's that we're not doing that anymore. Like we can do that. But
Is Speed Tree still the go-to?
speed tree is still a thing that exists, yeah.
Speed Tree, man, #1 middleware, crushing it.
So just the real shit.
That and the Havoc
but that's
engine, everywhere.
But that's the thing, right? Like the thing that I'm worried about with AI is the same thing that happened before in the games industry, which the thing that's going to replace is our juniors. Which means our juniors won't grow into seniors, which means our seniors won't grow into directors, which means in 5 years' time, we're utterly fucked. Because we're going to have a bunch of seniors that know how to do AI generation and nobody to replace them, nobody to fill new stuff in, nobody to have unique ideas. Like,
Yeah.
AI is going to do the shit that we let people do to learn how to make video games. To sit there and be like, fucking wax on, wax off shit. Like, like welcome to the games industry, make a rock. Like that stuff teaches you stuff about how games gets made without you being a massive risk to the production. Without like, those are the people we're replacing. Who's gonna grow to a senior? Who's gonna have that experience of 4 years in the games industry, like sort of seeing how things can go wrong? Yeah, we're gonna have prompt engineers. I can't do shit with a prompt engineer. What the fuck am I supposed to do with a prompt engineer? I want to make video games.
Right.
So yeah, no, replace the CEOs with the AI and fucking let's go. Like I would love that experiment. If EA wants to spin that off and fund it, like please do. Like just spin off a studio that's run by an AI.
I've been saying it for years. Okay. The EA CEO looks like the Merovingian, so he might already be AI. Mr. Andrew Wilson might be AI already. You never know. You never know.
Whew.